All right, I guess we'll do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Out of order, for Cascade Charter Township Planning Commission for Monday, September 12th, 2022. Moving to Article 1, record the attendance. At this moment, Member Engel and Member Rappin are excused. Member Rollin is to be determined, perhaps absent. Moving to Article 2, the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Member Rissy made the motion. Member Deering supported it for Article 3. Approve the current agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Moving on. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from August 8th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 8th.
Member Deering, our secretary, made the motion. Do I hear support?
Support.
Support from Member Korsnich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Can we approve the minutes from August 15th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 15th.
Motion made by the secretary, Member Deering.
Support.
Support from Member Korsnich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none. And any opposed? Hearing none. Move on to Article 6. Does anybody on the Planning Commission wish to disclose a conflict of interest?
No, sir.
Hearing none. We'll move on to Article 7. This is where we will acknowledge visitors or those who wish to speak. We do have a public hearing for every one of the accessory buildings and or fences that are on the schedule tonight. So if you'd like to speak about that, I'd ask that you wait until the case is called. Do we have anybody on Zoom? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to Article 8, case number 22-3725, Janet Lash. We get Maddie.
We're supposed to differentiate. I'm Madison. She's Maddie.
I'm so sorry, Madison.
You know, for office consistency. Okay, so we have an application for 9070 52nd Street from Janet Lash. She is requesting approval for an accessory building larger than 832 square feet. She had kind of a two-part approval. So she has already been before the Zoning Board of Appeals for her setbacks and was approved. So now she's moving forward with the size of the building. She is proposing a 32 by 64 square foot barn-like structure like we see here. I did get some notes from Janet on Friday, so I just wanted to update you guys that it would be actually a steel roof, not a shingled roof. And then she can answer questions, but she is looking to extend the lean-to size, currently listed as 24 feet along the side of the building, but looking to extend possibly up to 40 feet. That would increase her total square footage from our original here from 2240 to up to 2,368 total square feet. So just a note there. And then I did draw on here. I know you can't hear when I move. So she would be extending along this west side, hopefully to have a longer lean-to. So it wouldn't be extending past any existing building or anything, just longer than she originally intended. But yeah, she can speak to that more when she comes up. The use of the building is for personal storage, and for the winter time, she volunteer trains dogs. So she wanted a facility where she could do that year round. The applicant has a 1.7 acre property and is looking to build, like we said, up to 2,368 square foot, with the actual enclosed building being 2,448 square feet. The zoning in the area, we have seen an approval of other accessory buildings, actually. Just to the east of Miss Lash, a larger accessory building was approved. It's in an agricultural district, so it's kind of has that feel of maybe the land around has multiple accessory buildings. She has noted that this, once completed, would be her only accessory building. She does have two other, a small shed and another garage that would be removed so that she would be compliant with our ordinance, only allowing for her to have one accessory building with less than 3 acres. So that is what she is looking to get approved today. And then I'll open up for questions for me. Otherwise, Janet can.
So Madison, before we take questions, something that Planning Director Hildebrand would provide us was a spreadsheet for all
The
accessory buildings.
inventory spreadsheet,
What's that?
the inventory of all.
Yeah, so it gives
Was
us
it
a
not in
sense of
there?
what the median is, and again, Brian can walk you through that. Not a big deal, I
Yeah,
don't think, on
I'm-
these.
I'm sorry, that was an oversight. I
No, it's
actually even
okay.
have it on my attachments.
Okay,
I apologize.
no worries. You have many questions. Member Rissa, do you want to start us?
I could start. I have a short list.
Yep.
My first question is, and I could be mistaken on this, but in the past, I think when cases have gone in front of the ZBA prior to coming to us, I think we usually get a snippet of the conversation from the ZBA
Okay,
in our packet. Is that not something any of you recall? Or?
Yeah.
And
right.
I guess my curiosity is,
what did they discuss?
what did they discuss? Because I don't want to approve a larger overhang area if that is in the area that they, does
That
this
makes
need to
sense, yeah.
go back down to them?
Yeah.
Or maybe I should say up to them, I guess, technically,
So,
but
yeah,
Yeah.
in August, she came to ZBA for her east side setback, actually, so you can
Okay.
see here, it's the 30 feet, which she would be required to have. Because of her height, she was required to have
Sure.
40
Okay.
feet, so they approved the 30-foot.
so an extension on the west side is not going to,
So
Make any
yes,
difference on
this,
that.
any of these changes would not impact that. And then she was approved for that setback because she has some trees over on her west side of the property that she wanted to give ample space for growing over the years.
all right, thank you for that
And
clarification.
in the future, I'll put it in.
Great. And then the other item I was going to bring up, and this isn't pointed directly at you, so please don't take it that way. But I know I watched the last planning commission meeting on Zoom because I was not able to be here. And something came up in that meeting, which kind of runs along these lines. But I typically ask where well and septic are located on site plans if they're not shown. And I have asked numerous times for them to be shown on these accessory building applications.
Mm.
And I think it would be important for people or for our staff to ask people to include that on their site plans.
Yeah, so.
And if they don't know, then that's fine. They can just say that. But
Mhm.
I think it would be really helpful so we don't get into situations like maybe the one that might be currently occurring. So
Yeah,
that's why I bring that up. So
Yeah.
I'll ask the applicant when they come out if they can point out where that is, but
Mm.
I just wanted to kind of put that out there that
Yeah.
it's very important to have that information as part of
Yeah.
this process.
Yeah, and that's typically, we review that when the building permit comes in, we review it when we do zoning, but I'll make a note to ask for that for you guys to see as well.
I think so,
before
because
it's
if,
even
yeah, because
applied
if the
for as
building has
building.
to move, then the building department's gonna have to send it back down to us, and that's just bad customer service. And we
Yeah, I
want to have good
understand.
customer service here.
We do.
Vice Chairman.
Yeah, question on the lean-to. It says 8 by 24 lean-to.
So
Is
it's
that the correct, that's the basic dimension without possibly expanding it?
correct. So the original application was coming 8 feet out, 24 feet along the long side of the building. And now she's asking to possibly make that up to 40 feet along the 64-foot side of the building.
So there'd still be quite a bit of,
It's an increase of up to 320 square feet.
okay.
Yes, Member Deering.
Couple questions. Are there any lighting requirements that we need to include in?
We could add to the emotion that the approval be based on that the lighting meets the standards of being shielded or down cast, pointed down. in our motion. And I just to mention, I was going to say we would also amend the motion if you guys are willing to approve the larger lean-to of up to 2,368 square feet instead of that 2,240.
Right. And the
Um,
removal of the oh, that's already on there. I'm sorry.
Metal roof.
I have one other question. Did you receive any comments from neighbors?
I had one neighbor call me when it was noticed for a ZBA, and then her concerns were gone when she knew she was on the other side of the property. So other
Nothing.
than that, no,
Okay.
nothing for this specific date.
Those are my questions.
Vice Chairman.
One other question. Looks like on the east side, there's a row, it says double row of pine trees. Is that right?
Yep, so it's kind of like the property line between her and her neighbor is a row of trees, so it
Kind
would
of a
be kind of
buffer.
shielding
Okay,
the accessory building.
okay.
Any other questions? Thanks, Madison.
No problem.
Is the applicant with us tonight?
Yes.
Would you like to speak? If you could, again, for the record, we take minutes off this, say your name and address.
Yes, Janet Lash, 9070 52nd Street Southeast.
Thank you.
I've been saving up to build a building for quite some time. I wasn't intending to go 2 stories, however. Over this past year, my father is now living with me, 83 years old. We're in the process of moving all of his belongings to my house. So that's primarily the reason for the 2nd story. So he has his space to feel at home.
Sure.
I have been training dogs and competing in agility for 20 years now. And I need a place to train and practice in the wintertime. And I work with a youth group, 4-H youth group with dogs. We train in the summer and they go to fair and they do very well. And I'm very proud of them. But we have at least three of our youths now who need to go off leash next year. And because my property is not fully fenced, we don't dare let them off leash until we can know that they can be reliable off leash in an enclosed space. So that's another reason for needing this building of this size. It's just so we have a place to train and practice in the winter.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Member Rissy?
Do you know approximately where your septic system is located?
Yes. Septic is, sorry, over on this side. It's on the west side of the
Perfect.
house.
Good.
Excellent.
And the well is
On the east side.
just behind, right inside the fence,
Okay,
just behind the deck.
excellent.
Yeah, yes, anybody? Yes, Member Denny.
Yeah, I do have, just for clarification, will the 2 current buildings that you have, additional buildings, will they be removed after this new one is built?
The shed will be coming down as soon as the building starts, construction starts on the new building. I would like to keep the pole barn on the west side until the new building is finished, because we have nowhere to put what's in there. Due to the lateness of the season now, I'm almost thinking if we transfer everything over during the winter and start tearing down as early as possible in the spring.
Yes, Vice Chairman.
How large is the 2nd floor of the new storage building?
It will be the 64 by, it's going to be a barn with a gambrel roof. So it will run the entire length of the building, but I
Okay.
believe the width is let's see, 32,
32 by
about-
64?
32, 65, yeah.
You will lose part of the upstairs will be under the eave.
Okay.
Any other questions? Member Rissy?
Access from the street. Are you exploring any new access?
No new
drive or
access.
anything?
If I eventually put a drive, it will go off the existing drive. It will go off the
Understood.
side.
Member Corson?
Just how long after, I know you said you want to wait for the bigger pole barn to come down after this is completed.
Right.
How long after do you think it will take you?
As soon as the weather allows us to start, we're going to start tearing down.
So, okay, just because I think there should be a time frame. frame.
Yeah, and we want to
Yeah.
put that in the motion. That's a
Well,
great
we'd
question.
we'd like to salvage as much of the material as possible. So
Sure.
we don't want to just bulldoze it.
So if you had 4 months after the completion, something
Perfect.
like that. is-
Sure.
All right,
Well, if the building, I'm hoping the building is completed by the end of November.
got it.
But then the weather's going to start getting bad and we need time to move what's in the current pole barn over to the new one. And I'd like to leave the
we
current
can
one
give-
till
we can
spring
give
when the
Brian
weather.
some leeway. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. Any, yes, member Rissy.
I have no other questions. I
All right.
make a motion to go to a
Yes,
public hearing.
I have a couple of quick questions.
Mhm.
if Nobody else does. You're training dogs today at the home, so that wouldn't be a new.
Outdoors. Yeah,
Okay.
no, outdoors.
So that's not a new activity to the neighbors?
No, no. In
Okay.
fact, I've talked to the neighbors and they all seem to be fine with, I'm very conscious about barking dogs
Sure.
and bothering neighbors. I moved from city of Wyoming out to here
Okay,
for that reason.
got it.
And, I always say, if the dogs are barking and bothering you, please let me know.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, yeah, I hear thank you so much.
Thank you.
We may call you back if we have further questions after the
Okay.
public hearing.
Okay.
I hear a motion to go to public hearing.
But close the public hearing.
What's that? We have to open it
Excuse me. You're right. Yes.
every now and then. Is that a motion, member?
I made.
Actually, oh, you made the
I think
motion.
he's Supporting it.
All right, I didn't hear you make the motion. All right, member Rissy made the motion to go to public hearing. Member Moxley supported it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll go to public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to say something about this matter? Do we have anybody out on Zoom?
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Motion made by member Rissy,
Support.
supported by member Moxley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. All right, let's talk about this. I think if we did some kind of like 4-month and then gave Brian some leeway.
I think I've got a good idea.
Okay, let's hear it. I like good ideas.
He thinks he's got a good.
Okay, I would say, I would probably give them, first off, I think this is a fine spot to put the building. I see no problem with your proposal at all, so I am in full support of it. So with that being said, I would probably word something to the effect of at the completion of the building or within 3 months of completion of the building. That gives them some time to work with the weather, I think.
Well, she said 4 months wasn't gonna be long enough.
Yeah.
'Cause it's supposed to finish in November, at the end of November. and She doesn't, she can't move during the winter.
And part of me says 6 months.
You want to just say
6 months is
June,
fine.
Yeah.
completion of the
thinking-
building or, June of next year?
Yeah, maybe June 1st
That's
is,
what I was
Is that-
thinking too.
yeah,
That works. That gives them some time to,
yeah, that way she can salvage it too.
salvage what they can.
Yeah.
Okay. With that said, I'd be ready to make a motion if you're,
All right, let's take a crack at it.
take a crack at it. Case number 22-3725 for 97 52nd Street. Make a motion to approve the accessory building as presented with the 40-foot lean-to and 8 by 40-foot lean-to off the side. And I can push a button here so I have the right wording. The building may not be used to operate a business or as a residence, and any outdoor lighting will need to meet our regulations. And the 2 accessory buildings that are currently on site would need to be removed by June of 2023.
Wait, you gotta give her months or June of 2023, just in case construction doesn't complete.
Yeah, that's a
until-
great point.
Till May.
If construction is completed within 3 months of June of 2023, if she needs additional time beyond June 1st of 2023, she will need to coordinate that with staff. Does that work?
Okay. The motion is made by member Rissy, supported by member Korsnich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll pass it. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on to Case number 22-3732, level 10 builders. See, Brian never tiled like this. This is great. Collaging. All right. I like it.
Man.
I don't know what you want to see, so I give you all of it.
I like it.
All right. We have an application for 6927 Oak Brook Street Southeast. The parcel is just under an acre in the R2 district, just straight over from Thornapple River Drive. And the owners are requesting to build a accessory building larger than 832 square feet in their side yard. The plan indicates a 26 by 32 garage with a 12 by 26 lean-to for an overall square footage of 1,144 square feet. With the midpoint of the roof being 13 feet and 8 inches. The site plan does meet the setbacks required, and they indicated it as being 11 feet from their western property line and 10 feet is required. This would be their only accessory building on the property. And again, the use is for personal use. The building is planned to kind of match the residential district with vinyl board and batten and a shingle roof. The home is about 3,500 square feet. And in relation to the surrounding area, most other homes, because they're an older build, they seem to all have this attached garage. But an accessory building is not, it's less commonly seen than other districts, I think just because of the lot sizes. And I will note again that you probably didn't see that inventory sheet then because it wasn't for the last one either, so my apologies. The property itself, where the building is placed, just behind it is a hill that goes up, so I believe that's why the placement was made where it was, and the access drive is proposed to be this kind of impermeable drive up. And I recommended that these be approved as presented. And I will add now the lighting like we did for the last one. If there's any added on, that it be in compliance. And that's the gist of that property. You have questions?
Any questions for Madison?
I just have one.
Yes, Member Darren.
Just wanted to make sure we add in that they're not permitted to run a business.
Yep, we can have that too.
We almost always.
Yeah,
have
those two.
Conditions,
Yeah.
business, residents, and then any lighting and stuff. Outdoor.
Also, Madison, if we can, I don't know if we've done this in the past, but I think we should, if you can list the owner of the property. The situation.
If it's separate from the applicant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
On the agenda, because I think it's on the application.
It is.
It's deep in the application, but yeah, on the agenda,
Okay.
even on the, her staff report is where I'd really like to see it.
So
Okay.
that certainly would help with Article 6.
Yes. Any other questions for Madison?
Do you know where the septic system is on this property? They might, do they have sewer up there? I don't think they.
No, there's no sewer, septic. And there's probably a well.
All right, well, when we talk to the applicant, we can ask him.
Yeah.
Or her. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the applicant can answer that question,
Yeah.
Excellent.
hopefully.
Being this is a smaller lot, is stormwater runoff?
We didn't see any changes to the drainage presented or stormwater maintenance. So, yeah, that would be related to referring to the applicant about the stormwater on the property.
And it's a 40-foot height difference between,
The downhill behind them could impact the,
Yeah.
yeah, how the water moves around the building.
we can get to the bottom of that when we talk to the applicant.
Yeah, I think
Any
there
other
are
questions
builders
for
here too.
Madison? We may call you back, but I think we're good right now. Is the applicant present? Would you like to speak? Excellent. Yeah, you both can come on up, just again, state your name and address just for the record.
How you doing? Trevor Monroe, address 6927 Oak Brook Street Southeast. Wife Stephanie and son Axel.
Nice to meet you. You want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Sure. So we have a growing family. Home was built in 1967. Has an attached 2-car garage. It's a small 2-car garage. We're able to fit one of our vehicles in at this point, along with the lawnmower and all the other home tools. And we're just kind of maxed out, looking for more space. It's actually been something that we've needed and kind of planned on doing since we purchased the home in 2015. It's taken us a while to save the money to do it, but also understanding that the lot and the area of the neighborhood is a nice wooded kind of scenic landscape. So we've always kind of been delicate, and really what's taken us this long is trying to find a way to do it that preserves the look of the land, and also something not to be offensive towards the neighbors. So basically after 5 or 6 years, this is kind of what we've come up with. Pretty much we would be the only ones that could see it from our home. Incredibly important to us that it wouldn't be an eyesore, that it would be tastefully done, something that would match and look like it would be part of the residence. And also try to design some type of a drive that goes back to the building that wouldn't just be a flat concrete surface that would look like a typical driveway, something that would be like a broken cobblestone that would allow grass to grow up between it. So it wouldn't just look like a building back there. As far as the septic on the lot, and actually when we purchased the home some years ago, there was a additional purchase of land between one of the previous owners. And I believe our lot is about 1.29 acres at this point. The septic is located back here.
Okay.
On the back side of the house. And as far as storm runoff, there certainly is elevation here. There's a gully that runs in the very back of our property down, and all of the storm water that you would perceive would come down towards where the back of that barn would be, actually runs east first and then is channeled out around. So we actually don't get storm runoff on that part of the lot.
Do you have a well?
We do.
You know where that is?
Yep, the well is located up here in between the driveway and the front porch in the front side of the house.
Any questions for the applicant?
I have none.
Yes, member
Just a
Mosley.
comment. I like what you're proposing for the driveway. It's not just a airplane landing strip,
Sure.
you know, it's landscaped.
Yes,
very
actually,
nice.
it would be 2 years ago, we had a huge retaining structural wall that was placed in the back of our house with big flagstone boulders, and Harner Werner did the work. We actually already talked to them, and if we get approval, we'd contract them to use the same type of stone to countersink into the ground. So we'll just
Great.
continue the same.
Kudos.
I agree. Driving back there, I think this looks like it would fit back there very nicely.
Sure.
Style wise. Good
Thank you.
job.
I appreciate the care that you took into designing the new structure and the thought that you gave to your neighbors, and I think you did a great job.
I like the photo.
What's that?
I like the photo, the teaser shot.
Sure,
We don't
right.
usually get those with accessory building requests. so
right,
that's-
right,
That's good.
Yeah,
I like
it's in the spirit of, it won't be identical, but very, very similar.
that. Okay.
Looks like something from Meyer Gardens.
Right. That would be great. Aspirational.
I'd make a motion to go to a public hearing.
Hey, thank you so much. We may call you back.
Thank you.
Hearing a motion from member Rissy, supported by member Korsnich. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none that are opposed, we'll go to public hearing. Is anybody in the public wishing to speak about this matter? Do we have anybody, Maddie, on Zoom? None. Do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So move.
Moved by member Rissy, supported by member Deering. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Somebody want to take a shot at this?
Well, I suppose I could.
Okay,
Case number 22-3732 for 6927 Oak Brook Street. Motion to approve the request for a type 1 special use permit for an accessory building over 832 square feet with the conditions that any outdoor lighting meets our regulations and the structure cannot be used as a residence or to run a business.
sounds good. All right, I heard the motion from member Rissy, supported by member Corsic. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you very much. Moving to case number 22-3733, Kirk and Monica Wright.
Okay, we have the rights on 7269 Thorncrest, requesting a special use permit type 1 to allow for a 6-foot fence in what is technically their front yard. This property is on the intersection of 30th and Thorncrest. And they are along, you're probably familiar with the pathway that runs along 30th Street. And they, because they're on this corner lot, their technicalities of what their yards are kind of complicated. So they technically have 2 front yards, even though along 30th, they would consider their rear yard. So they are applying for this permit so that they can put 6 foot along here. And it would be permitted here, but mostly it's just that it's considered their front yard. So the pathway runs along here, and the reason the applicants indicated they'd like this fence is for safety. They have a family, and it's a busy street, people walking by on the pathway. They'd like to have an enclosed area to increase safety for their young children and some privacy from that busyness in their backyard. The placement of the fence doesn't interfere with the corner restrictions that make sure that you maintain nothing taller than 30 inches within 20-foot radius of a corner. So they have not extended it too far to the west where it would be in a sight line issue if you were to be turning on either of these streets. The fence design is like this. This is a snapshot of their property from the pathway. So you're looking towards the intersection, right, of 30th. Okay, making sure. So the fence would be kind of coming along here on the other side of the pathway. We have granted other permits for 6-foot tall fences in front yards on major streets like Buttrick and Thornapple River, when the vision hasn't been obstructed like we see here. You are able to approve up to 8 feet. We don't see any issue that interferes with the traffic visibility. If anything, we believe it would increase the safety for the residents. And we do not see any other issues. So with that, I would recommend approving the 6-foot tall fence in their front yard based on this criteria listed.
And I believe, Madison, there are other fences on 30th even. I'm getting nods. It seems like when I used to, I grew up there, and when I ride my bike up there,
Yeah, just
So-
because of how some of the intersections and streets are configured, there are some
Yeah.
backyards on a front yard.
Yes, member Corson.
Question, and I don't know if you can give me an exact or maybe an approximate, how far from the edge of the trail will the fence be?
Yeah, so I did actually reach out to them to clarify that information. So they are going to be about 3 feet from the pathway.
Okay, because my only concern is the snow removal. There's not much room from the street to the trail through that area. The snow piles up there a lot. If you run or walk it, it's a pain sometimes. And then I'm worried about their fence staying up because the township will push the snow from the street that gets on the trail into that section, and they will snow blow as well. And it's not like a small and residential snow blower that they use. It is very forceful and will throw snow over 30 feet
Okay.
and against that fence. That's my concern. It's just the spacing for the snow removal in that area is the only concern I have. And if the fence is going to stay up, or if something happens to the fence, then the township may be liable if it's our snow removal that is causing something to happen to the fence.
When the applicant gets up, that's a great thing to flesh out. Member Rissy.
I happen to have a little bit of experience with snow removal and on paths, and I would say a 3 foot setback on the fence, given the equipment township's using. That's a very good point you made, but I think a 3 foot setback is adequate
Yeah,
for that area.
the only
But-
reason I say that is because I have a privacy fence that's over 3 feet from the trail. And it is hard. And walking and running in that area, I know that snow is horrible along that small grass section between these streets and the road. And like I said, when this township comes through with their snow blower, once it starts getting really deep, it does very forceful.
Madison, on this beautiful drawing, the nice key that someone made, I have to compliment them on that. It says setback 162 feet from 30th. Can you tell me what that dimension is? Because I'm,
House.
No, you didn't.
I didn't see that.
It's not part of the key any longer.
Okay, all right, okay.
It was a hand-drawn note.
What's that?
It was a hand-drawn note.
A hand-drawn note? Okay, all right, okay. It was in the packet too, so that's what I was looking at. So I didn't see it crossing out. I was looking at the
I'm
packet.
sorry.
No, I'm looking at the live feed. So, okay, understood. I will ignore that.
I
was-
redact that.
All right, all right. I was thinking maybe what you meant is it's 162 feet from the intersection, but maybe
It-
it's not related to this at all.
I don't want to confirm that, but I believe that was my measurement.
Okay, I hadn't measured it, but it makes sense. Yeah, that was my only.
Any other questions for Madison? Thank you. Is the applicant here? I suspect they're right there. Again, your name and address for the record.
Hello, Kirk Wright, and it's 7269 Thorncrest Drive.
All right, Kirk, tell us about what you're doing here.
Cool. Yeah, we'd just like to put up a 6 foot privacy fence. Thank you, Madison, for doing that. It was a perfect description of, we want the safety concerns and the privacy. We have 3 large sliding glass doors that all face towards that walking path. And in the summertime, we'll be sitting there eating dinner, and we lock eyes with a lot of individuals on that trail. It's not the greatest thing for 3 young children too. And also just to have that whole fenced in backyard it'd be phenomenal to actually utilize that space. And yeah, it wasn't an eyesore. And I think the 162, that's pretty accurate from this spot right here all the way down to the actual start of the fence. I think that's where that number came from.
Got it. Member Rissy, and then member Corsish had some things about the fence. So go ahead.
You can go first.
Go right ahead.
Do you anticipate a lot of tree removal with the construction of the fence?
No.
I think I'm somewhat familiar with this property. I think it used to be Dick Casco's house.
There are, I don't remember the previous owner's name. There are some trees on that line, but we wouldn't knock any trees down.
Okay, all right.
So you heard member Corsich's concerns about the snow removal, the setback. Anything to say on that? I think she has other questions.
I'm
but-
not overly concerned with it. It looks like a lot of the snow gets pushed onto the main bank on the left side. Like if we're walking down the trail, the majority of it comes right here. I'm not sure if we get both. We get the plow and we get the snow thrower. So the snow thrower could possibly throw some snow up on there. I don't necessarily know if it'll knock the fence down. We could also make sure that we use enough concrete on each of the posts. Because I'm going to be installing it most likely that we could put a concrete down there to hold it tight.
Would you be
Probably
open to,
enough tree roots there to hold it.
Yeah. There are quite a bit of trees.
would you be open to a hold harmless agreement with the township then?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, member Moxley,
Would the 6-foot height be continuous all the way around all three sides?
Yes.
Okay.
any other questions? Timmy? Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Here, a motion to go to public hearing
So move.
by member Rissy, supported by member Moxley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed.
All
right.
Here it comes. We got our first public comment of the
We
night.
could get your name and address, please.
Sure, Calum Metzar, 7292 30th Street. We are the neighbors that are here,
All right.
and we are really on board with this.
You're sitting close, so it'd be really awkward if you weren't on board with it. Surprise.
Yeah. Hate it. No, we're really on board with this. People drive way too fast on that street. They do have a handful of young kids. I've seen a ball bounce over there. Looks like a driver's ed film. Like I said, we're these neighbors. I checked it this morning, pulling out of my driveway. Not going to be an issue on visibility there. As far as the snow removal, he's right. It does generally go towards the road median side as opposed to the yard side. We're on board with it. We actually on the way here looked and saw that he was still home, and we're like, it's tonight, right? So you can absolutely see into their house. So yeah. Yeah, we're on board with it. So that's fine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Maddie, anybody on Zoom? Okay.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Yeah, motion made by member Rissy, supported
Second.
by member Moxley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. All right. Any thoughts? Anybody want to take a crack at this? Yeah.
Just-
Oh, yes.
Just a thought. I like the fact that it's set back from the property line on the east side. It's set back from the woods on the west side. I think that's smart. I like that.
I just am a firm believer in privacy fences, especially when people can see right in your house, especially on the trail, especially having kids. I just want to say that the only thing I truly am worried about is the township being liable for something snow removal wise. That's the only thing, but I truly support everything about
Are you comfortable with like a hold harmless? Is
it.
that-
Yeah, I just, like I said, if we have a big snowfall,
Yeah.
heavy snow winter, that's the only thing I have concern about.
We do want to sign that too. The whole harmless.
Yeah, because I've seen some of the plastic privacy fences. I don't know what they're made out of, but
Yeah.
that have holes in them from the snow being thrown
Yeah.
up. So that's the only thing.
Okay, member Rissy.
So would you want the snow removal to be a condition, or are you thinking having an agreement written up separate of this?
No, what would it?
I was thinking something in the approval that's
That's why we need,
the owner.
where's Joel
Yeah,
when
I
we
just-
need him?
I-
Yeah.
I'm thinking the same thing. I think as long as it's in the minutes, I
Right.
think that it's been acknowledged by the
Mhm.
onna. I
Yeah.
think that as long as.
It's a
there's
condition of
something-
building it. Like you can't put it up unless you agree to that.
you're
Okay, well,
agreeing that This could be something that happens.
take a
and
stab
I
at
feel
that.
like, yeah.
Okay, member Rissy.
All right, case number 22-3733, property address is 7269 Thorncrest Drive. Make a motion to approve the 6-foot fence as presented in the front yard along 30th Street. And with the condition that the homeowner accepts the responsibility of any repair needed to the fence that may occur due to the township's snow removal operations on the bike path. Regular snow removal operations on the bike path. Not road commission,
I agree.
township.
I'm right there with you.
Okay. Hear motion by member Rissy. Do I hear support?
Support.
Support by member Moxley. I heard him first. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none. Thank you so much. Moving on to Article 11, the Grand Valley Metro Council Airport Access Study. This was brought to my attention a couple of weeks ago. And I thought that as it does involve planning in our township, and we are accordingly the planning commission for our township, that it made sense just to have it as a discussion point at this point, nothing more. Brian included a link in the packet, or at least I thought he was going to. If not, we'll get one for you. But
It was in the email sent
Email.
out. for him.
yeah,
Right.
um,
Not on the screen.
again, there's a few different things that they're looking at. And again, not much to do tonight other than make you all aware of it. And if anybody has any comments, you know,
The survey link is closed. I don't know when it closed.
I think just real recently, maybe over the holiday weekend even.
I think I looked at it prior when I saw it on the Nextdoor app. At the survey at that point.
Yeah.
Brian, do you have anything? I know we had just talked at times, I think, about the potential of a entrance off 36th Street that by the M6.
Yep.
Exit ramp there. Have they talked to you at all about their different, because I don't remember if there's 3 or 4 choices. Some of them were definitely further away from the 36th, the M6, 36th Street exit ramp. And I was just wondering if they had brought any of that to you or anything about it.
Just a little bit. There's been a few meetings a while ago that I had been on, nothing real recently, but yeah, the background, I think biggest reason for this was adding a secondary access to the airport, since there's just the Ustama Boulevard right now. So they looked at options from taking a access directly from that off ramp off 96 across the airport property. And then at this point, it sounds like it's just all very conceptual, or they kind of throw everything out there and get comments on it and see what's going on. And so as Chris mentioned in the original email, they looked at kind of some off ramps off M6 onto 48th or 60th. I think the next step then is to dig into those a little deeper then and actually come up with some practical alternatives versus just the conceptual ones right now.
and just in full candor, my position is additional ramps off the expressway don't excite me. That's not what we're trying to do with that area.
And the 36th Street ramp is there.
And I think it's very sufficient. And I think any kind of entrance from the 36th Street would be ideal, but that's just my opinion. So, yeah,
Limit the
absolutely,
traffic around the township.
absolutely. Member Rissy?
Well, the last time we talked about this, I think former planning or community development director Peterson brought this up. And we talked about the 36th Street being the best location for that. And I still agree with that. When I looked at when you could see the link, because you can't anymore, but when you could, it looked to me like it wasn't an access study, it was a promote development study. Because if you're building highway exits on the other side of the airport, I think that's more of a promotion to create more development in that area, building roads and other access points from the highway. Whereas I think the most logical spot for access to the airport is 36th Street. I mean, that's the most direct route. It's the closest. It's only going through airport property. You're not inconveniencing anybody that lives in a residence on Thorn Up River Drive or anywhere else. So there are other advantages to having the access in the other locations, but they also come with disadvantages too. So I think from an airport access standpoint, the 36th Street is by far the best spot.
So does anybody dissent from that opinion that 36th Street is the best spot? And further, that we don't particularly love the idea of off ramps and further development in our agricultural area?
I will note our future land use plan has everything between the highway and the airport as industrial
So
zones.
I think we should address that at some point, because I don't know that that's something that's consistent with what a lot of the township trustees like, and perhaps even this planning commission.
And I have a question. I know we keep referring to this as the future use for that.
Mhm.
When does this happen? Like when it gets purchased, somebody has the option to say, oh, this is going to be industrial.
That's what we use our
They
future
could-
land use map for when we get rezoning requests. That's our main tool for how we judge those requests. And the other big thing of this is utilities. Utilities would have to be extended there before we would allow a
Right.
rezoning.
If,
But I think we
if
just
somebody,
keep saying it's the future use.
but if somebody came in tomorrow and was
Right.
willing to run the utilities there,
That's
they
my
could,
question.
they could rezone it. And I mean, they'd have to come to us, they could rezone it and say, this is our plan, we're going to build a warehouse here. And we understand it's gonna be expensive to get water and sewer, but we're going to do that. And it would be a change by right, am I wrong? I mean,
It would have to come before you for.
it would,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't think there's, if they checked all the boxes the right way, there's really not much we could say no to. It's master planned for that now, light industrial.
Yeah.
And if they come to us with a plan that meets what our ordinance states, I don't know that we have a lot of argument to say no.
We might have some, but you're right. That's our biggest thing we look at is that what it's future zone for.
That's fine. I think that's the problem I have is we keep talking future like it's gonna happen in 10 years from now or something big is gonna happen. But that was my question, that scenario what you just gave was, can this happen tomorrow?
Yes, it could if they
So
had,
somebody purchases
yeah.
100 acres over there. That's my question.
What,
So
what is the process to amend that master plan? And I think it starts at this body, does it not?
It's
We
a,
just
yeah, it's a
did.
planning commission document and we're required to review it every 5 years. And of course, we can review it more frequently if we would like to.
Not next meeting, but that's a week away, but can you prepare a write-up on it? And I'd like to review it and make a recommendation to township that, perhaps, again, we need to review it and discuss that we go back to an ag use for that around the airport, because I'm hearing the airport even asking for water at the township's expense to be run to that area. Am I wrong?
I've heard the airport ask for that. I've heard other property owners that have purchased property there inquire about utilities being extended.
Yeah, go ahead, Member Rissy.
Our current master plan, I believe, is from 2020. Am I not mistaken?
2019, I think is when it
2019?
was.
Okay, so we would, and that's usually a 5-year plan. So we would be redoing it in 2024, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Which I think we can amend it at any time, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
yeah.
know. I just trying to get understanding of where we are at in it.
yeah, I agree. I just as a citizen of Cascade Township, I think, it would be interesting to see how it goes to the board and what they think. But to me, that just feels like agricultural zoning in that area.
Would it,
I can't imagine switching that whole section and having it pop up being all.
I
industrial
concur.
and-
And I feel like it's a beautiful area and it would perhaps ruin that. So I mean, before you go, Member Risk, I know you have another statement, but like, Member Nord or Trustee Nordhook, do you have any sense of where the trustees lie on this? Would there be support to maintain this as agricultural?
Yes, it would.
That's the big thing. So,
Member Rissy, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm wondering if we were to have this this is a big what if way out there. Okay. If we opened the door for this conversation, maybe the right thing to do would be to kind of get it out there in the public and let the public come in and give us some comment about how they feel about that. I don't know if that means we would reach out to people in that area, but it would be interesting to see the feedback because there's different ways you could do that. You could say the area between Thorn Up River Drive and the airport might still be one direction, and the area between Thorn Up River Drive and the highway would be a different.
I think we could totally public notice it.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, there's a lot of different way. If you wanted to explore change, there's a lot of different ways to do it. But there have been, I think there are people that are certainly planning on it the way it's currently master planned. So I think there might be some people that would be not happy with the idea of changing it, but there'd also be a lot of people that I think that would be, certainly the residents around there would be for it. The traffic out there is horrible right now.
I would assume it would have to go to public. hearing.
If we do actually go to amend our master plan, there'd be a
If
lot
we
of,
amend
right.
it, but I'm saying
But
I
even
would like to
before-
see
Just for
public
discussion.
engagement before any amending is proposed. I think that's the spot where we want to get the feedback from the public, not
Before we go down.
right, not when we're about to make the last free throw.
What do we want to call the geographic boundary that we're going to be looking at?
Oh, well,
What,
the
how far does
geographic
the
boundary would be-
industrial, the future industrial,
Yeah.
how far does it go? I
It's
guess?
really
I'd wanna
literally
see.
everything between M6 and the airport, all the
Yeah.
way around the airport. And then east of M6 is still residential.
But how far south?
It follows M6,
To 60th
so
Street.
60th.
Yeah. To what?
To 60th Street.
Okay.
So it goes all the way south to the border. So it's essentially 48th Street to 60th Street, everything between M6 and the airport, because M6 kind of goes around like that.
So
It's so hard because you cross it so many, or go over under it so many times. It's hard to
Right.
think about where it's at.
When you're driving on M6 towards Holland, it's everything on the right
I
side of
don't
the
drive
car.
on M6 right now because you can't get onto it from 96, so I don't even bother.
I learned that the hard way today and I went to Lowell.
Sorry about that.
That was nice.
It was not a good day to go to Lowell.
There was a lot of stuff going on there. All right, so Brian, can we, let's hold a hearing and publicly notice it that we're evaluating the master plan around M6, and then let's notice everybody around it. Is that,
Yeah, I'll look at the best way to do that. So it'll take a little bit of coordination to figure out how exactly.
yeah,
we do it.
October's fine. Again, I'm not,
Yep.
expectation isn't that we do this next week, so. But I think it's in the township's interest to really evaluate that.
And that might, as if we're reviewing the master plan, or I guess pre-reviewing the master plan, that might be a larger conversation where we'd probably review, I would think, the majority of the document, but we can maybe focus it to just this. Or
Well, and it might fall in with
Did-
the airport.
Does,
at the same time.
does anybody on staff have any conflicts of interest with the land ownership around the airport in this area?
I grew up on a property next to it.
Okay, but I mean, you
I
don't own it today or
No,
anything?
my aunt and uncle actually live there still.
Okay. But they're residents, okay, but nobody on staff that to your knowledge has any, or, okay,
Not that I'm aware of, no.
okay, cool. I did not know that, by the way, that's kind of cool. All right, I think that covers that. Is everybody good with that approach?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. Okay, moving on to Article 12. Do we have any old business? Yes, Member Gorsuch.
People at these two. Just wondering, update on the road classification map that we discussed at the last meeting. When can we expect to see something brought back?
I was thinking our next week already.
Okay. And then the other thing I have is that Ranger Hills Court outbuilding. But I thought that was coming back to this agenda. When is?
We had to
when is-
renotice that one, so that
Okay.
has to be added next week's as well.
That's all for me for this.
Okay, Member Deering and then Member Moxley.
Okay, I have something similarly related to that. I'm wondering if there was any kind of update on the culvert under Hall Street and the flooding that the residents spoke of.
I was looking through our records to try to find if there's any reference of that, and I hadn't yet. So my next step would reach out to the road commission, since that would be their jurisdiction under the road. So I'll see if they have any comments or recollection of when that was approved, or if they're aware of anything that is not working how it's supposed to. So I was gonna reach out to them next.
So weird to me. There's so many water retaining ponds in that condo development along that road. It's just crazy to me that that water is not staying there.
Right.
It's coming across.
Unfortunate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
There's really nowhere around there for it to go, though. There's no creek or anything that,
But it's like it's not staying, it's not even being directed to the ponds
it's
that they
supposed
put
to
there,
be.
which is, I assume they put those ponds there to hold the water.
See, I read it as though that's the overflow structure for the ponds in a 50 or 100-year event.
Um,
That's what I was,
Yeah.
that's what I
I
was
just,
thinking.
I've
is that
never
they-
seen a
they-
lot of water in any of those ponds.
Yeah.
Member Moxley.
Question for Madison. Update on 6480 Cascade Road. Have you heard anything further there?
No, and I noticed last week I went by again and it looks worse, so I'm thinking, I left a message with the owner who told me he was selling the house, so I'm thinking, oh, usually when you clean it up, it gets worse before it gets better, so maybe that's what's happening, but yeah, I'm waiting to hear back from the owner.
Added some vehicles, it looked like.
Well, if he's selling it, how come I don't see a for sale
I
sign
know,
up front?
yeah, that's why I called it.
Yeah, I think it's certainly not getting any better.
So,
I
yeah,
check it every time I drive by it.
My mental schedule is if I don't hear back this week, I was gonna go talk to Ben about maybe next step, actually doing a citation if it needs to happen.
Good.
We'd appreciate that
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other old business?
I
Yes,
wonder-
Member Lee.
I'm wondering about if there's any kind of update on that temporary structure that was going to go out by the airport. Did we ever hear anything back from
We
them?
asked them
or-
to hook onto water, so it made it almost.
Right, they have, yeah, we had their list of conditions and I haven't heard anything from them to move forward
I'm
with that.
assuming they went somewhere because they had a short.
They had a short timeline on that, so they probably did.
The water's not cheap to bring in for that great of a
No.
distance, so. Excellent. Any other old business?
I had something, I don't know what it was.
Something for any other business. I don't know which one we're on.
Yeah, we're on old business. I'll move to Article 13. Any other business? Go ahead, Member Gorsuch.
I have a question for Brian. Is there something in zoning for the business zoning to limit freight containers as a semi-permanent storage building?
Right, we have an allowance for them as temporary buildings, so they have to apply for something for that. Are you thinking of like in front of Walmarts and Myers and
Yes.
yep, so they have something allowing them to have that there for a temporary amount of time and then it will have to be
How
removed.
how long?
What's that?
Some of them are different. Some of them are for like the duration of construction, so Myers until January.
No, I'm talking about the ones at Walmart that are right out front.
Walmart
by
got
20th
90
Street.
days on June 9th, so they're almost, no, not June.
It was a little later.
I'll have to double check the date, but it's on my radar and they're almost done. They might only have like 2 or 3 weeks.
So what's the
left.
process for them to get those approved? Do they just come to the township staff?
So
to be
we've been
approved?
discussing it with CBA because they've become more common.
Mhm.
And we've had like 4 in the last 3 months or so apply for the same thing. Or we'll see them already somewhere and then have them go through the same process. So
I just, as a resident, I think they're an eyesore, and I think there's other places within their property that they could be sitting versus right out front between their building and 28th Street.
yeah, so we did review, or ZBA reviewed their whole site plan and like placement and how it would work. And I guess that was the spot that worked best for not blocking any ingress or egress. And it was kind of an overflow parking area, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's not ideal.
I don't think they were looking at how horrible they look from anybody driving by.
No,
That's
I
just
don't
my
think-
opinion.
I don't
We
think that
did
was their
review
focus.
those at zoning board.
But yeah, we did discuss maybe changing how that happens. Do they need to come before ZBA or can we have some sort of separate
Right.
rules around it? I don't
No, you're fine.
think.
Well, I get it, but I don't, maybe I'm the only person that thinks they look horrible.
Well, they don't look the greatest, but they were for like a seasonal storage. for
I just feel
Christmas and
like
stuff.
It's 'cause of all
every
these supply
season they
chain
come
things.
out. That's the thing. I mean, they're
Oh.
usually there every fall, late summer to fall, when they're transitioning from their garden stuff to their winter stuff. And they're there every spring
Mhm.
between the winter transition to their summer stuff. And
Yeah, there's definitely like ordinance amendments that could possibly be made, like in other places I've worked, there's a limit on how often can you have an accessory structure for X amount of time on your property, or even signs like for hiring, like things like that.
Yeah. I
No,
just,
the-
I get that maybe there's a need for them, but I also think they look horrible.
Yep, Member Rizzi.
in my opinion.
The conversation of those actually came up on a drive-by recently with our family in the car. And
Did you think they look nice?
somebody pointed them out to me and I was like, yeah, that doesn't look great. But, you know, it seemed logical to me. And I don't want to tell the ZBA or the township board how to do their job. I'm just throwing this out as an idea. If these types of requests from certain businesses are reoccurring on an annual basis, it would seem to me that maybe the business needs to come in with a request to expand so that they don't need
Mhm.
so they don't need to have temporary semi-trailer
That's
storage. I mean, I can see extending a request, you know, once or twice for something, but if it becomes a regular habitual request on an annual basis, that seems to me that at some point, maybe somebody needs to say, hey, this is your last one. You got to figure out a long-term solution to this
Yeah.
because that is not meant to be a long-term solution. It's meant to be a temporary solution.
And that's, I think, my point is that it's not like this is the first time I've seen them. They're there twice a year and I get the reason for it. I know exactly what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
switching over their stuff from
Well,
seasons,
yeah.
but it just looks horrible.
And I think it also would be helpful now that we've redone the BSNA we can see when we go to their parcel now, okay, how many times have you gone to ZBA for
Mhm.
these short-term units? We can recognize patterns more easily.
Right.
And that could be used in
Good.
reports for ZBA or if it's changed in the future for house crews.
I will pass on the reluctance to approve these again to the ZBA. That's
I
my
just, yeah, I
official
mean,
duty.
I'm just saying, driving by them, I just think they don't look nice. And I think it sets a standard within the township that, hey, I need some extra storage out front. I'm gonna throw a couple freight containers out front for everybody to put their stuff in.
Yeah, the Walmart ones are the worst because they're right on
Those-
28th
those are the
Street.
ones you can see, and they're, like I said, twice a year, they're consistent, they're not out there for a week, they're out there for a month at least. Those are the ones.
And I think the ones in Meyer, a lot of it's related to renovation work. they're
Yeah, and I
doing
haven't-
inside the building.
I mean, I frequent my and drive by there all the time. I haven't even noticed them, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
they're
And
not
that's the difference to me, is I feel like I don't know how much room there, I know there's a drive behind Walmart and I know it's where they deliver stuff, but it just seems like there would be a better place to put them versus right out on 28th Street.
Duly noted.
Any other business? I have one. I sent a potential violation to Brian that I became aware of. The Sturbridge development on Buttrick. Apparently, the retention pond is not capturing all the water to cause some problems for the neighbor at 2282 Buttrick. So he's looking into that. I only mention it for transparency. I've copied Ralph on it, so he has awareness as well. So nothing to do other than just make sure you're all aware that that's something that he's looking into. Okay, hearing any other business, we'll move to Article 14. Do we have any viewers, Maddie, on Zoom? Okay, then we will move to Article 15, adjournment. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
So moved by Member Deering, supported by Member Moxley.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye. Good evening.
Wait, I don't know if that's